World is on tonight.
On numerous occasions, the intelligence community incidentally collected information about U.S. citizens involved in the Trump transition.
President Trump was right, and the mainstream media was wrong again. Will they ever learn? Some liberals are prepping for the apocalypse because they say President Trump could end the world as we know it. One of them is here.
Oh, was this exactly how they left it?
And I get an exclusive tour of the Reagan Ranch. Waters World begins right now. Welcome to Waters World. I'm Jesse Waters. On March 4th, President Trump tweeted this, quote, "Terrible. Just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism." All hell broke loose, and on Monday, FBI Director James Comey was asked specifically about the tweet.
With respect to the president's tweets about alleged wiretapping directed at him by the prior administration, I have no information that supports those tweets, and we have looked carefully inside the FBI.
President Trump was savaged by the media and essentially called a drunken liar. The Wall Street Journal editorial page saying he clings to his assertion like a drunk to an empty gin bottle. And check out the cover of this week's Time magazine. Is the truth dead? And the TV pundits were quick to pounce.
President Trump made a wild claim on Twitter. There's no evidence, nor is there any credible source who knows anything about intelligence who believes the charge.
Credibility crisis. President Trump's unapologetic defense of his unsubstantiated claims.
The president's charge is untrue, and he knows it's not true. At least he should.
They couldn't just keep their powder dry until all the facts came out. So on Thursday, Chairman of the House Intel Committee, Devin Nunes, dropped this bombshell.
On numerous occasions, the intelligence community incidentally collected information about U.S. citizens involved in the Trump transition. Details about U.S. persons associated with the incoming administration, details with little or no apparent foreign intelligence value, were widely disseminated in intelligence community reporting. Additional names of Trump transition team members were unmasked. None of this surveillance was related to Russia.
But guess who may not be cooperating?
We don't know exactly how that was picked up. But we're trying to get to the bottom of it. I think the NSA is going to comply. I am concerned, yet we don't know whether or not the FBI is going to comply.
Interesting. The president was asked about the revelation moments later.
Do you feel vindicated by Chairman Nunes coming over there?
I somewhat do. I must tell you, I somewhat do. I very much appreciated the fact that they found what they found, but I somewhat do.
So just like the Sweden comment, the Brussels terror attack, and the election, the president oftentimes get criticized viciously for statements he makes that end up later turning out to actually be true. Just recently, the commander-in-chief was hammered for suggesting that some threats to Jewish community centers were made to, quote, make others look bad. Guess what just happened? Turns out a Jewish teenager was just arrested for making those same threats. Trump was right, but I don't expect the media to give him any credit. So back to the wiretapping. Let's put a very fine point on this so there's no confusion.
Would I be wrong in saying that the Obama administration surveilled the Trump transition team?
I would say from all I know, you're at least 99.5% accurate, and probably 100%.
Here's what we think happened based on multiple reports. Conversations at Trump Tower between Trump officials, possibly even Donald Trump himself, and foreign players, either heads of state or diplomats, during the transition, were sucked up by Obama intelligence officials. The Americans' names were illegally placed in intelligence reports, and because of a last-minute executive order by President Obama, disseminated widely throughout multiple intelligence agencies and then leaked to friendly mainstream media reporters. This had nothing to do with Russia and was designed to undermine the president-elect, if true. People are facing prison now. That's how serious it is. With the narrative quickly crumbling for Democrats, Congressman Adam Schiff desperately trying to divert attention and stoke unsubstantiated allegations that Team Trump was in cahoots with the Russians.
There is more than circumstantial evidence now, so Again, I think...
So you have seen direct evidence of collusion?
I don't want to go into specifics, but I will say that there is evidence that is not circumstantial and is very much worthy of investigation.
But this directly contradicts what President Obama's own Director of National Intelligence told the country just 2 weeks ago.
We did not include any evidence in our report, and I say our, that's NSA, FBI, and CIA with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had anything that had any reflection of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that included in our report.
I understand that, but does it exist?
Not to my knowledge.
The Democrats have contradicted themselves so many times at this point, you can't even listen to them anymore. And on the same day that this bombshell wiretapping information came to light, this is what CNN had on the screen. We can expect trivial news to dominate in the mainstream media, but the real question on the Trump surveillance and leaking is, what did President Obama know and when did he know it? Joining me now is former Trump campaign manager and founder of Avenue Strategies, Corey Lewandowski. So the former president and some of his officials, might have to lawyer up pretty soon. They used to chant, lock her up. They might have to start chanting, lock him up. How serious do you think this is, Corey, if true?
Well, Jesse, look, there are some grave concerns here, I think, for every American if what Chairman Nunes said is actually true, which is individuals, private U.S. citizens on U.S. soil were being incidentally picked up by the intelligence community for doing a job in the private sector, which was working in the transition team. If that is the case, there's some grave concern there. And, there has to be accountability. Not only were those individuals potentially picked up, but their names were unmasked, they were distributed to the mainstream media, and now multiple individuals know who they are and what those conversations took place. Those are felonies, and I hope that Chairman Nunes has a committee which brings these people and holds them accountable, and if they did commit a crime, I think they need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law.
I completely agree with that, but for some reason, after President Trump said what he said on Twitter, the narrative was the guy's a liar. And then all of a sudden you have new information that shows that he was correct, potentially. And now the narrative is Nunes is the bad guy because he spoke to the press about this. And let's not even look into the fact that the president was potentially surveilled by the previous president.
Well, Jesse, look, I know I'm in Waters' world, but really this is Bizarro world. It's unbelievable.
It's the same thing.
They want to attack the chairman. They want to attack the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee for going in and telling the president of the United States that he was accurate when he tweeted out that information to the best of his knowledge. And if that is the case, look, they want to make a disparaging comment. And you know what the mainstream media said? I can't believe the chairman didn't tell Adam Schiff immediately and went to the president. Who gives a care about telling Adam Schiff? I understand there's a protocol, but when you find out that the information that the president said seems to be accurate and that they have independent verification, I think that's much more important than sharing with your colleague.
Could you imagine if President Bush had incidentally picked up communications of then President-elect Obama at the Chicago headquarters and then had unmasked the names and then disseminated it to friendly outlets like Fox News Channel, for instance, and then Fox News Channel had reported these things in order to undermine President Obama? What do you think would have happened then?
Jesse, I don't even know what incidental pickup means. Neither does the rest of the American people. Either you were or were not listening to United States citizens on domestic soil, which is a crime unless you have a FISA warrant. Either you are or are not pregnant. You can't be a little bit pregnant is the issue. So they were listening, it clearly sounds like. This is insane.
Do you know
we have our federal government listening to the next president and his staff of the United States. If that's the case, that's a real problem, and everyone should be concerned about that.
It sure is. You know what it reminds me of? When the IRS incidentally targeted conservative Tea Party groups and had their paperwork held up for 2 years. It was just an accident. It was incidental. I mean, everything's always incidental. Nothing's on purpose anymore, right?
Well, there's nothing to see here. You know, there's nothing to see. Go look, move away, move away. This is insane. Jesse, can you imagine if this was Hillary Clinton and was she incidentally picked up? Do we know it was her staff incidentally picked up? Were they taping and listening to what was going on in Brooklyn, New York after, you know, her election loss?
Yeah, and do you remember?
This is crazy.
And Director Comey never even indicted Hillary because she didn't intentionally commit the felony. I mean, the whole thing boils down to... Yeah, the whole thing boils down to reading someone else's mind, which brings me to Comey. First of all, he answered kind of in a fishy way about whether or not the tapping took place. He kind of answered specifically whether President Obama ordered it. And then it suggested that he may not even be cooperating with the House Intelligence Committee investigation into this. What do you think's going on with James Comey now? Do you trust him?
Well, the big concern is that the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, who's tasked with looking into this, has said that he has concerns about the FBI participating in a truthful manner with this investigation. That's why they've gone to the National Security Agency to get the information. That's serious. That's a very serious statement by the chairman. And if the FBI is not cooperating fully, as they should, and if Director Comey is not cooperating fully with Congress to make sure that they have all the information available, then he needs to really think long and hard about his tenure at the FBI. Now, I'm not calling for Director Comey to step down, but what we do know is Loretta Lynch, as the former Attorney General, would have been the individual who unequivocally would know if a wiretap was taking place on Trump Tower, because she would have had to sign off on it. This is the same individual whose airplane just incidentally happened to be next to Bill Clinton's airplane, and they incidentally talked about grandchildren and golf for 30 minutes. And then guess what? Oh, there's no indictment. It's amazing all the incidental things that take place with government officials. If this was in the private sector, they'll go to jail for insider trading. It's amazing what happens.
That's right. Well, that's why this is the government. And we can expect these things to continue as long as the swamp has not been drained. Corey, thank you very much.